Okay guys, so I'm going to show you guys how to use SVG files that you get with a pattern. First I'm going to do Cricut, and then I'll go through and do Silhouette, just so those are the two most popular. I do not have a Brother's Scan and Cut, so I can't show you how to use that one, but I will show you how to use these two. So starting with Cricut, you're going to open up a new project. And you'll want to have already downloaded the files that you get with the pattern whenever you download the pattern and everything. So open a new canvas, come over here to upload, click on that, and we are going to upload image. We're going to browse, and I'm just going to upload this first one here because I know it has some cutouts, which is something that was a little bit tricky whenever you upload it. So I want to make sure I show that one. So I'm going to click open, and it's going to show the different pattern pieces right here. And there are multiple, so make sure that you download all of the files that you want to cut. Okay, so this is just the preview. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to click on anything to get rid of colors or anything like that, or background. So just click upload. I already had it here, but so we're going to click that and make sure it shows up with this green box around it, and add to canvas, just like you do with any of your other designs. So when it comes up, it's going to be, you're going to see these black boxes. That's totally fine. All of your cutouts and everything are still under there. You just can't see them because they're blending in with the black. So what I like to do is go ahead and, oops, not that one. Come to this little box right here, which is your color. And you can just change that to white, and there you go. Now you can see your cutouts. But you can leave that black if you want to. You don't have to take that step. It will still cut it out. So the first thing I like to do is you have your box down here that is your test square to make sure that the pattern came up the right size. So click on that, or click on your whole piece, and it's all grouped together. So you want to hit ungroup. And then you'll come back over here, and you can see this is 1 inch by 1 inch, so everything loaded correctly. But we don't want to cut that. I mean, you don't have a use for that. So we're just going to hit the delete key and get rid of that. And then what I want to do is just select them all again. And then I'm going to come down here to attach. Now this is really important because if you don't attach them, Cricut is going to sort these out, and this box is going to come out, and it's just going to make it everything. Here, I'll actually show you what it'll look like. So if I just leave this as is, and I go to make it, it's going to all come up jumbled. Cricut thinks it's being helpful in saving you space on your material or whatever, but it's not. It's not doing the right thing. So we're going to cancel that. And then come back and zoom out just a little bit and select everything. And then we're going to come to attach. When you attach it, everything will stay in this order exactly as is. So now we can go to make it, and you can see everything will be cut out perfectly. And so you would just pick your fabric, whatever you wanted, cut it to whatever size. And in the end of this video, I will show you how I like to prepare my mat. Because especially with things like vinyl and things that you're going to have to do multiple passes on, you want to make sure you're taping it down. So I will actually show you how I prepare my mat, like I said, at the end of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this one. So that's all you have to do with Cricut. You would just go through all of your different files that you download from the pattern, and just upload them the exact same way. And you can decide, you don't have to cut all of these. If you want to just cut your squares by hand, do that. I do suggest that you cut the zipper placket, which is this one right here, or not zipper placket, but a zipper overlay. Zipper overlay, that's what it's called. I do suggest you cut that with a machine if you have it, because it creates, the perfect rounded corners, which can be hard to do by hand. Not impossible, but it is easier to do it. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this one. and open up Silhouette. Now, I do have both machines, but I 1000% prefer Silhouette. It's so much easier. Cricut, I mean, it's a great machine. Cricut is a great machine, but the software is just awful, in my opinion. So, okay, so for this, I'm going to come over here to this little folder here, or you can go to File, but I'm going to come to Folder, and I'm going to open the same file. So this is that same one that I downloaded. So see, all of these here are all things that you've been provided with the pattern to cut. It's every single piece that you need, except for the mesh pocket, I believe, because you can't cut mesh on the Cricut or the Silhouette. Okay, so I'm going to load that in. And now you see what's so much easier about Silhouette is it comes out perfect. I don't have to do any editing, nothing. But again, I am going to take this little square, just going to drag it off and delete it. If you want to, you can, select everything and come up here to the, group selected shapes. Click that, it'll make it so you can move everything together. Otherwise, this piece, let me ungroup them again. This piece right here will move around if you don't. So if you accidentally do that, just hit undo, select everything, and group it back together. Okay, so what I like to do, let me show you the settings first. With Cricut, I think the settings, I don't know if I might have to actually load something in order to get the settings, but they have, that's not going to work. My Explorer, I don't even have an Explorer, I have a Maker. Anyways, you can tell I don't use it very often. In fact, I had to update it before I could even make this video. So what I like to do is I come over here to the page setup, and right here it comes up custom. I'm going to change it back to auto, which is 12 by 12, and that's what your standard mat is. So I'm going to come over here, change it to 12 by 12, and then I'm going to select my files that I want to cut. And I'm going to come up here to this little button right here. And that's going to center the entire thing to my mat. So this way I have a nice border all the way around. And that's really important for whenever you go to tape your material on. Okay, sorry if this is a little shaky, but I'm having to hold my camera in order to do this. So one of the most important things is when you tape down your vinyl to your mat is that you do not go past this line here, like where your, sorry for the mess, sorry. This part right here, do not go past that with your tape, because you need your rollers to be able to roll on the mat. If you put it on the tape, it's not going to feed correctly through your machine, and you're going to be sad because it's going to cut up your vinyl like crazy. So I did that on both sides. Sorry, it's a little dark, but on both sides, it does not go past that outer line. And you would do the same thing on Cricut as well. Just make sure that your two outside rollers are clear of any vinyl or tape. So you can see, and I didn't tape the bottom because the pattern actually, I think, stops about right here, so it's not going to go down far enough. But if you're utilizing your entire piece of vinyl on this sheet, make sure you tape the bottom as well. Okay, so we'll hit send, and we'll come over here. Now, Cricut does have a lot more options for settings for different things like vinyl or leather or leatherette, faux leather. There's a ton of settings for Cricut. Silhouette, not so much. So what I did was I actually created my own. I have a few down here, and you can see My Punk Broderie is one of my favorite places to order vinyl from. So I just have 2 settings for that, and I even have one for Decaville Heavy. But again, I really only use it on like those really hard to cut pieces, like with these curves and stuff like that, when I really want it to get it perfect. Otherwise, I feel like you waste a little too much vinyl And like these, you could pull these closer so that there's just a little bit of gap. But I'm just going to leave it like it is for now. Okay, so if you click on that, this more button right here, so you can go through and look at the different kind of texture or different kind of settings for stuff. There is some settings for leather and suede, but that's going to want you to have a different kind of blade. And I only have the auto blade that came with my machine. That's just what I keep repurchasing because I love it. So you can start with something like leatherette, and that's going to give you a blade depth of 6, 2 passes, force 33, and speed 3. I found that doesn't work well enough for most vinyl. So I took that, and then you can hit more. And you can actually duplicate this. You can come up here, right click on it, and duplicate it. When you duplicate it, it will give you these settings that you can play with, and then you can change that so that you get different settings. But you can start with that, and then I just rename it so that I know what I'm cutting. So what I have found works best for both thick and thin vinyl is a force of 33, a speed of 3, and I don't know what this one is. I never changed that. But the blade depth of 10. And then the only difference between the thin and thick is the thin, I do 1 pass because it's usually good enough. And the thick, I do 3 passes. Sometimes, even with that, with thicker vinyls that have like a fuzzy backing on them, sometimes they won't cut all the way through. But you can just use like a X-Acto knife or whatever to kind of cut through that last little bit, or you can change it to 4 passes and see if that works better for you. Always check before you eject your mat to make sure that it is cut enough for your liking, because if you eject it, there's no way you'll get it exactly back in the same exact spot. But if you leave it in there and just kind of peel up a corner and see that it's not good enough, you can resend it through and it'll cut in the same place. So that's it for that. If you want to see my Decaville, is pretty much the same except for it's just 2 passes. And if you guys have any questions, you can contact me in the group. Just send me a message or tag me or something, and I should be able to help.